This is Broadcast Obituaries, Gone Too Soon. We exhume a short-lived TV series, episode by episode, give it a proper eulogy, and answer the burning question, was it canceled too soon or not soon enough? Analysis, nostalgia, and our final verdict on TV's fallen heroes. Hey there, I'm Rob, your TV shaman.
And I'm Aaron.
And this is Broadcast Obituaries.
We're watching these shows that were near to our hearts once, even though they didn't last very long. And we're judging the networks. Were these fair cancellations, or were these shows gone too soon? This season, we're making our way through all 21 episodes of the show Earth 2.
Yeah. So, we talked about this a little last time, but the current episode we're going to be watching today was not available on YouTube. So, I have joined the club. I ordered these and received a set of DVDs this week. I feel like I'm in a, very select club now. Both of us, we're the two people that own these.
We are. I bet the eBay retailer who's selling these is like, wow, these things are getting hot. What's going on that I'm selling all these?
There's
yeah, what's going on with Earth 2?
Earth 2 DVDs. I should
we're gonna
raise the price.
Yeah, we're going to see Warner Brothers pick it up. We're going to see a relaunch, and it's all going to be because of us.
One thing that all the YouTube videos are missing, except maybe the pilot, I'm not sure, they don't ever do the previously on, and they don't include the opening credits. But you mentioned to me that there was something in the opening credits that bothers you. So I'm curious what it is you saw.
Yeah, it's silly. It's a nitpick, but I have just these strong recollections that every show I watched in the 90s, when they would run the opening credits and they would show you the actor's name or the guest star and the character they're playing, that person showed up on screen with their credit. And this whole opening doesn't do that. It's more of a cinematic opening where they're just running their credits with random events happening on the screen, and it bothers the crap out of me. When I see an actor's name, I expect to see that actor on screen, but it's never that person.
Okay, so I guess I did notice this actually, and I wasn't sure if it was really going to be something that minor that you took issue with. I guess it was. That's okay.
It is minor, and I did take issue. I'm pissed.
Okay, all right. I don't disagree. I did notice it, but then, for True, she got the full treatment. Her name came up, her picture came up, she was doing something on the screen. No other character gets that entire sequence like that. They get maybe part of their name if they're on the screen at all when their name is on the screen.
And I bet for True it was coincidence. They didn't plan
Probably.
It just worked out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know why it bothers me so much, but every time I start an episode, I'm like, ugh, these credits again. Come on. Get your stuff together.
I find it more funny than anything. It definitely it makes me chuckle.
It's a nit. Yeah, it's a nitpick. So
that's funny.
But
all right.
Yeah.
So hey, one other thing. We're watching this show, which is, from the 90s, right? The 1990s. We're watching TV from the 1900s. And you and I both recently watched a couple movies from the same era. You went to the theater and saw one. What'd you go see?
I did. I took the kids to see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It was the 35th anniversary as we record this. And theater by our house had a special showing. So last Sunday, I took the kids out there. Yeah.
You're talking about the original one where there's people wearing full-size styrofoam
full rubber
costumes.
Suits.
Yeah.
That make 2 or 3 facial expressions.
Right.
Corey Feldman as Donatello, the original movie.
Wow.
And it was great. I have fond memories of it. My wife loved Ninja Turtles growing up, so she was stoked to go see it in theaters. We weren't sure what the kids were going to think, right? Because right now they're YouTube kids. They watch YouTube shows, YouTube animated series, stuff like that. So sometimes it's hit and miss on stuff from my childhood. My daughter, at the end of it, she's like, I don't have a clue what was going on. There was no story. And I was like, there was. It's, whatever. You're just 13 and you're being too cool. I get it. It's fine. My son immediately after came over and ran me through his rating scale, which he often does. He was like, graphics, 4 out of 10. 3, 6 out
generous.
of 10. And he was running through it, and they were all terrible rankings. But at the very end of it, he goes, the movie as a whole, absolutely amazing. I loved it. And then he starts doing ninja kicks and stuff in the theater. So for me, that warmed my heart. I was like, that was me at his age watching Ninja Turtles and being amped over it, So it went over really well. Everybody's a big fan. They've started watching some of the newer animated movies. It was really good. So, yeah.
Do you have plans to see TMNT 2 and 3 from the 90s live action?
No. Well, not in theaters. No, I won't
Right.
pay for those.
No,
But yeah,
no.
the kids and I will sit down and watch them
Okay.
eventually. Yeah. Yep. Yep. So how about you? What movies you been watching?
Well, we were just like we were sitting down. We had everybody was home one evening, and the kids wanted to watch something. And my kids are varying ages. I have children that are college age, and then one that is in seventh grade. So we have a pretty broad range, and sometimes it can be hard to find things that we all like and agree on.
Yeah.
But so we're just scrolling through the different streaming services, and one of my sons says, "How about this? It's called The Rocketeer." And I didn't say a
Amazing.
word. My breath caught in my throat. The other two were just like, "Yeah, all right, that's fine." And I was like, "Yes, let's do it." And I don't think they could understand my excitement, but I used to love The Rocket. I mean, I still love The Rocketeer, but I watched it
Yeah.
multiple times in my teens back in the 90s. I watched that movie all the time, and it's just such a fun movie. And I think we all enjoyed
It's
it. It was a fantastic experience. There were things about the movie that I did not really remember at all. I completely forgot that Terry O'Quinn was in it. He plays Howard
Yep.
Hughes, and I completely forgot
Yep.
about that entire storyline, honestly. But
Yeah.
that was fun and interesting. Since then, obviously he's gained some notoriety. He was in Lost. He was a main character on Lost for years, 5 years or so, however long that show ran,
Yeah.
and plenty of other things. He's a pretty popular name, and I did not remember. This is pretty early in his career, and it was just altogether, everything about it was just exciting. I loved this movie, and
Yeah.
it was a fun
That's a
experience. I,
favorite.
I love going back to the
Yeah.
90s, and obviously I'm enjoying our Earth too. And man, classic,
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
classic.
Rocketeer. Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can't forget about her.
one of her very earliest roles.
I'm the Rocketeer. The Rock of who?
Yeah.
Yep, she was awesome. I forgot, honestly, Timothy Dalton was in the movie. He was the bad guy.
Yeah. He's the bad
Completely
guy. He's the
forgot.
Nazi.
Yeah,
The Nazi.
the Nazis. Yeah, I don't know. One of my favorite scenes from the entire movie, not to bore everybody with these details, but one of my favorite scenes is when like the Nazi blimp comes in at the end and the whole thing turns to chaos. And the gangsters that
Yeah.
they've been working against the entire movie are right next to the FBI guys, and they're all shooting their Tommy guns at the Nazis, and they're on the
Yeah.
same side. I love that part. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
Yeah.
It's
Only
just
the
one of my,
Nazis could bring everybody together.
yeah, it's
It's
awesome.
the best.
So great movie.
Yeah,
I
that's really
loved it.
good.
I loved it.
Yeah, it is really good. I got a two-player board game for the Rocketeer that I
Nice.
bought. I haven't been able to get to the table yet, but it
Oh
looks really
wow.
good. So
Yeah.
might
Well,
have to
maybe
play
we
it
can try it out
tonight.
sometime.
Yeah, I'll have to get it. I'll figure it out. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
very cool. So Rocketeer, Ninja Turtles.
I'd just soon find something to jump in. No offense. Without our dry soap stalls, some of us could use an old-fashioned bath.
Let's do this. Let's talk about this episode we got today.
All right. Yeah, so today we're discussing episode 6 of Earth 2 Water, which aired on December 11th, 1994. The description for the episode reads, this is narrated by Bess. The colonists face a dwindling water supply. Having a scan showing water 12 kilometers away, Adair and Danziger take 6 empty drums and ride the dune rail and encounter Terrians. Bum, bum, bum.
Had me right from there. I really enjoy the Terrians.
Yeah.
Okay, so just to put a little more detail around that, so their water does run low, and Devon and Danziger grab 6 empty barrels, which end up being much smaller than I thought they were going to be.
Yeah.
They put them into the back.
They're like punch jugs. They're not huge,
Yeah,
right?
no, they're not.
Yeah. Or
They're not.
gasoline tanks.
Right. When
Like
I
see on old
remember
Jeeps.
when I was reading about this description before I watched the episode, I was picturing like big drums, like a big
Yeah,
metal
55
drum.
gallon
Right.
drum for
These are maybe 7 to 10 gallon
yeah.
like plastic barrels, basically,
Yeah.
much smaller than I was imagining. And then once I saw those, I was like, well, yeah, no wonder their water supply's running low. Those are tiny.
Yeah.
So they put the barrels into their dune buggy and they head off to find the source of water that they located. The Terrians seem to attack them while they're out there on their way, and the two of them fight through, and they manage to get to this lake only to discover that the water's undrinkable. They're both sick from dehydration, and they each find a source of water, and they both survive,
Yeah.
and then they make it back to camp. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
while all that's going on, Julia finally heals Alonzo's broken leg, which I thought he actually had for the entire season. I think I mentioned way back in the pilot, but nope, he gets fixed right here in episode 6. So she fixes him, and she is confronting the feelings that she might be having for him while also dealing with her mission as a spy for the people back on the stations. So she's a pretty major player in this episode, really, but a lot of it is like internal.
Yeah.
She's definitely very conflicted and
Yeah.
trying to deal with some stuff.
Yeah. So I want to go back to the Terrians. So when Devon and Danziger are going out to find water, did you really think the Terrians were attacking? Like, I couldn't figure out what because their dune rail just somehow runs out of battery, just
Right.
randomly shuts off.
I assume it's the Terrians, like
You think they did it?
doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
I didn't think about it. Yeah, probably. They're magic. I don't understand how any of their world works. So the dune rail stops, and the Terrians just show up, but they don't actually do anything. They just kind of stand there, right? They come rumbling through the wall and everything. So do you think they were just really curious about the dune rail? Like, I feel like they're curious children who are just wanting to see things.
So I really think that I think they can see where the humans are headed, and I think they're trying to stop them. And they don't have a
So
way
they
to
really
communicate
didn't
with
want to.
them,
Yeah.
but they're trying to save them because we're going to find out, obviously, when they get there, the water is toxic. It like corrodes their canteen immediately. I really think that they're trying to stop them. That's why. And there's a whole sequence of things that happen. Like the dune buggy stops. They come out and they like the Terrians, when they're there, they mostly stand in front of the dune buggy. And they're trying to prevent it from moving away. It's like they're guarding it almost. And, they do some other little minor things, but it seems like they're never truly attacking. It seems like they're mostly just trying to stop these two humans from, going to this water.
Yeah.
Which doesn't work. They're stubborn humans.
Yeah. I just can't ever figure the Terrians out. But I guess that makes sense. I didn't
That's
really
my
connect
take.
the dots that's and that makes sense to me, seeing that.
Especially considering at the end when they do bring them water, like they help them locate good drinking water.
They do. Yeah.
Or groundwater, as the humans call it throughout the episode. We're gonna drink water from the ground?
Ugh, gross.
I think they don't really describe it, but they must have some kind of water reclaimers that are pulling moisture from the air, and it just can't keep up with their needs, which is why they have to find some other water.
Yeah, they talk about it a couple times. Wherever they're at, it's extra dry. So
right. Yeah. So
okay, sorry. We were talking about Terrians. I was curious.
Yeah, no.
What your thought was on them showing up at the start was.
That's why I said the Terrians seem to attack them along the way, because I mean, they do attack them. That part is true. But
they do eventually.
For what purpose are they attacking them? I don't think it's because they're jerks. I think they're trying to save them and help them.
Protect something. Yeah.
Yep. You take these things as fast as I can make them. I wonder if you can trust me?
Hey, I checked around. You're the best doc in town.
So for this episode, it is very important to remember that at the very end of the last episode, we found out that Julia is a spy. She is working for the other folks.
Dirty spy.
Right. And pretty much right here in our first scene, we do find out a little more. She's got her communicator and she uses VR. She goes into VR and talks to these people, and she's got a contact in there who his name is Riley, and he is actually played by Terry O'Quinn, who we were just talking about, who was also in The Rocketeer. Very cool. I completely forgot he was in this show. When I saw him, like the images came back to my mind. And I'm getting into the period now where, like, those first few episodes we watched, I clearly remembered a lot of what was happening in these shows. I'm getting to the point now where I do not remember it as well. I do remember images of him, and there is one little scene, like one moment that we'll get to, that I do remember very clearly. But otherwise, I don't remember much from this episode. Thankfully, I prefer not to remember it.
Yeah. This might be a sign that you started falling off the show around this time. If you're remembering less and less,
it's possible.
Maybe.
It's possible. So
teenager Rob might have not
he got
enjoyed
bored
this
with
that much.
Maybe he was really bored with an episode like this, which is truly, it's all about relationships. As we'll see as we go throughout here.
It has its moments.
Yeah. So she's talking to Riley in this little VR space that they have. And from their conversation, we can kind of gather that he is already on the planet. She says something like, she says they must be thousands of miles apart, or his heat seekers would have found them already. And he says, do you think I would fire missiles at you? And she's asking, she says, if I told you where our location, would you send me water? Which means it couldn't be coming from Earth 1. He's not going to ship out. I will get you some water. It'll be there in 22 years. It's on its way.
Yeah. Right. Just hang tight.
Hang tight.
You're going to make it.
It'll be there before you know it. So clearly, really, that's when I was like, oh, there are other humans already on this planet. Besides the criminals.
It was a shock. Yeah. I was shocked. I didn't expect that. I never watched it, so I don't have any expectations. I didn't, But that's when it clicked. I was like, oh my gosh, she's actually talking to people that are here already.
Yeah.
And
Which,
why is she in cahoots with them? Like
yeah.
that. Now I want to know so much more. Like, what's that? And they keep calling her citizen. Good job, citizen. Thanks, citizen. All this. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
So
Who knows?
there's a council that they talk about. I don't know. There's so much more there.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad that they are on the planet, because otherwise, like, they couldn't be speaking together in real time. They'd have to send messages, because you
yeah.
can't speak together in real time over 22 light years of
Oh no.
distance.
Yeah.
And they're clearly like in this VR space standing and having a conversation back and forth.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
I was worried about that. Like, I think in some previous episode I mentioned, I was like, I don't understand how these messages are going to get
It
back and
was
forth here.
it was the end of the last one because we assumed she was sending it back to Earth when she
Yeah,
revealed that
right,
she was a spy. I was like,
right.
what is the point? Like, it's by the time your message gets there, you're
Yeah,
probably
you're
dead
dead.
or
Right.
like, yeah. I was like, I don't understand this.
Yeah.
So
We did also learn one other interesting thing in this episode about her communication device. She now keeps it in her armpit instead of in her stomach. So this way she
yeah,
doesn't have to puke it up every time that she wants to,
yeah.
talk to her bosses.
So
Much more
somebody was like,
sense.
we can't keep this gimmick going. We can't have her barfing
No,
every episode
right.
when she needs
Yeah.
to talk to somebody.
Yep. So now she just stores it in her armpit, which is also a little bit disgusting, but nowhere near as bad as puking it.
No, yeah, for sure.
Okay. So one other thing I wanted to mention just about the beginning of this episode, we're pretty much right after the credits then. Devon and Danziger are talking about how they're short on water and they got to go out, and she's located some about 12 kilometers away and they got to go find it. The DVD description for this says water becomes a vital commodity when Grendlers steal the colonists' reserves. They blow through that so quickly in the actual episode. I watched this thing 3 times. It was the third time that I watched it before I even caught the little line that
Yeah,
Devon kind of mutters about the Grendlers stealing their water and dumping it out. Like the Grendlers didn't even steal it
yeah.
to drink it; they just stole it and dumped it.
And took the containers. And
Yeah,
and they honestly weren't even that upset about it. She
yeah,
delivered the line so nonchalantly, and then they were just, okay, well, I guess we'll find more water. And it was like, they they almost killed you all. Like, you should
right.
be really, really ticked off.
Yeah, that could still kill them
Nothing.
all at this
Yeah,
point,
Danziger
right?
Danziger didn't even threaten to like hunt them down and
I'm
track
gonna
them
go
or
get these
anything.
things, and
I
I'm
know.
gonna nothing.
Nothing.
You know,
Yeah.
lame. Yeah, I agree. That was a very odd, completely
Yeah.
odd thing. And
Just
when you think about
blow
it,
past it.
if the Grendlers are dumping the water out, they must have their own source of water, because the rate at which those guys are slobbering all over the place, they would be completely dehydrated if they were not taking in a lot of fluids.
A lot of water.
So
Yeah.
let's talk to these Grendlers and see where they're getting their
You
drinking water.
Yeah, so maybe there's an episode where Julia goes into more about the science of Grindler slobber. So we can see,
Yeah, I sure
is it
hope so.
even water based? Maybe it's not. Maybe
Good
it's
point.
something
Maybe it's
else. I
dirt.
don't know. Gross. Yeah, it's so gross. It's all gross.
All right. So while they're out there looking for the water, we've alluded to it, but their dune buggy dies. Like, the battery's
Yeah,
completely drained. So they basically have to hang out and let the sun recharge the solar collectors. While this is happening, Danziger and Devon Adair, they've been kind of bickering back and forth, and they will throughout this entire episode, but they need to keep their energy up. So Danziger spreads a blanket out in the shade for Devon to relax on while it's recharging.
yeah. It's
She
very
says,
gentlemanly of
it
him.
is.
Yeah,
And he starts to walk back out into the sun to go work on the car or something.
yeah.
She says, no, just, there's plenty of room. Come lay down. So he lays down on the blanket beside her, but like as far away from her as
Oh,
possible.
like almost half his body is sitting
Like
dirt.
his elbow is in the dirt. His
Elbows.
elbow is
Yeah,
definitely in
yeah.
the dirt.
I was like,
There's
come
like
on.
a foot of space between them. And they're both
Yeah,
just laying there on their backs. And then,
Oh, come on, don't be silly. There's only one blanket. There's room enough for both of us. What is it?
I think I should check the collectors, see if they're on.
I think there's some chemistry forming between the two. There's definitely some
yeah,
tension between the two.
for sure.
He definitely doesn't feel comfortable, letting his guard down around her at the moment. And maybe he
Yeah,
is. Who knows? I mean, there are all these people who are stranded on this planet, and he's like one of the most available men. She's one of the most available women. They've got these feelings that I'm sure are
yeah.
brewing
It's
up
yeah. I
somewhere.
feel like
They're both
I
leaders.
Yeah, I feel like you kind of see the tension coming from the other episodes when you see them interact.
Yeah,
Like, I'm not surprised. Like, I fully expect them to be
yeah,
romantic at some point in
yeah,
the show. But this was the first time where we actually see them being forced to face it. And even before they hit they go to find the water on the dune rail, Danziger's going to go with one of the other randos from their group,
Right.
some other dude,
Yeah.
But Devon's like, no, I'm going to go. And that's just the way it's going to be. And Danziger is like completely, oh my gosh, I got to sit next to a girl in a car. Oh my gosh, like total teenage boy nerves all of a sudden.
Yep.
So you kind of get it. You know what's going to happen.
Yep,
So
definitely. Yeah. So, and on the flip side, we're getting a lot of the same stuff out of Julia and Alonzo,
Yeah.
and their stuff kind of happens throughout the entire episode, but those are the two main storylines here in this episode. We got John and Devon out looking for water and confronting their feelings, and we got Alonzo and Julia, and they're the other storyline. And Julia gives Alonzo this pill
Yep.
that she thinks might heal his leg, and it does. We're going to see that here later in the episode.
Julia! Julia! Something wrong! Ah! Oh, my leg.
He actually will be
Yeah.
able to walk again, and
Yeah.
he is like very grateful to her, and she's like, just doing my job, and like he's basically telling her, he's like, I'm interested, let's do this, come on,
Yeah.
what do I
super
got to
forward.
do? He's like, I'm hot, you're attractive,
Not
he's
hot.
like I'm a 10, you're a 7 or 8, but I'm willing to go down to that level.
fine.
You're super smart,
It's
so
fine.
that brings you up another notch or two.
He agrees to slum it for Julia.
Right, yeah. He's like, I don't think I got a shot with Devon, so I'll take my chances with the
Yeah,
doctor.
give it a go.
Yeah. But their entire storyline is him putting the moves on her, and her basically like she's dealing with these feelings of being the spy, and she doesn't want to get close to these people because she is working against them now at this point, basically.
Yeah.
And I think she does have feelings. I think it's pretty clear. She's interested, and she's a part of the group. But now that she's in communications with Riley, she's kind of pushing away. She doesn't want to get too close because she has to keep some kind of distance, or she's going to, fall in love and with him, with the people as a whole, basically, with this group, and not be able to do her job if she does that. So that's their entire storyline, basically, through this entire episode.
It's interesting to see them try to connect and see that struggle. I think not related to the romantic side, but when we see Julia give Alonzo the pill to heal his leg, it is like very clearly not the first pill she's just concocted to give him. And I'm like, in my head, I kept thinking, this guy is okay with just being a guinea pig. He's just been taking random medications that obviously mess with your genetics or DNA if it can insta heal a bone. And like, I'm pretty sure she says, oh, you got to be careful walking on it because the bone's still soft. So it's not just healing your leg, it's softening the bone to do all that. I'm like, you've just been popping pills from this lady?
Can you walk? No, you're gonna have to wait until the bones harden.
Just like no big deal, hoping that it works.
You know what my first thought was? I remembered that horse that she couldn't stop from growing, and it was growing those sores. And I was like, what if his leg just starts growing?
He just ends up with this giant, humongous leg.
He's got like one normal leg and one like 10-foot long leg that she finally figures out how to get to stop growing when it's 10 feet long.
But he's stuck with it now.
Now he's got to walk around on one leg and bend his other leg at the knee to be kind of normal. It's just, that was my first thought, was about the genetics gone wrong.
Yeah.
And what if that happens to him?
Yeah, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, wow, in the future, I guess you just are okay with that. It's not a ethical choice anymore.
Right. Yep, apparently not. Well, not when you're stranded alone on a planet, I guess, and you have equipment to synthesize DNA or whatever. I mean, she must have some amazing. In the very opening, Bess tells us, she's doing the voiceover, and she's like, she doesn't even have her gear, and yet she's still trying to get by. And that's my terrible Kentucky accent.
Just like Bess.
I sound just like, I know, it's me.
I was
it's
like, oh my gosh,
it's not Bess. It's me.
Yeah,
that
for
was
a minute,
not an audio clip.
You were Rebecca Gayheart for a minute.
Thank you.
I was amazed.
Thank you. I channeled her. But so she's talking about that, but clearly she's making medicine using DNA to do this stuff. And so she has some equipment here. I don't know. It's a little confusing.
Yeah. Well, it's our understanding of what good equipment is.
Yeah, good point. Good point. To them, it might be, like in Star Trek 4 when they are back in the 1980s to, get the whale.
Yes.
And they're like,
dialysis. My God, what is this, the Dark Ages?
In the 1980s, that's cutting-edge technology. Honestly, it's still cutting-edge technology for, kidney disease. So maybe it's the same thing for them here.
Yeah. They also solve, in Star Trek 4, he solves somebody's problem. He just gives them a pill, and that person is just cured immediately.
Yes.
I remember that. I love that part.
Walking, like dancing around in the hospital hallway, I believe.
Yeah.
And all the doctors and nurses, we see them all in the background. They're all shocked and blown away at what's happening.
Like, what is going on?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. That's one of probably the funniest of the Star Trek movies.
Yeah,
It's a
for
good one.
sure.
It's a good one of the good even-numbered ones. Okay, so Danziger and Devon are laying on the blanket, right? Or
Yep.
she is anyway. All of a sudden, we hear this rumbling, and she jumps up and runs away, and the Terrians come busting out of the side of the mountain, looking all angry, and that kind of starts this antagonism between them, the two of them. And eventually, the two humans try to get back in their dune buggy and drive away. It's stuck in the dirt. The wheels won't go. The Terrians do kind of attack them then. They zap them with their sticks, and they knock them both out. When they wake up, and remember, they've been, like, just a couple scenes ago, they were doing their best to stay away from each other. He's like, I can't lay down next to you. I feel things. I have to move. So when they come out of, they've been knocked out, when they wake up, they are tied up together with vines and, sticks, basically.
Like the Terrians wrapped him up.
They
Yeah.
had vines grow out of the ground around them, basically, and hold them down to the ground. But they're like her head is on his shoulder. They are right up against each other, and they are forced into this very intimate spot. And one of the most awkward scenes
So
I have
weird.
ever seen on TV happens
Yeah.
at this point. And it's all because, they're thirsty. And he says, well, I got my
Yeah, they're
canteen.
thirsty.
Yeah, apparently. And so she can't move her arms. He says, can you get to my canteen? So she can move her head, apparently, and her entire upper body, just not her actual hands. His canteen is around his waist. And the whole scene, it's like she's bent over. It is highly suggestive. Like, highly suggestive.
Oh, yeah. The whole time.
She
Even
is-
the faces that Danziger makes.
Right.
Because she's
And
trying
he's-
to unscrew the canteen lid with her mouth.
Yes. And he's
And the
saying,
faces he
that a
makes
girl,
just-
that a girl.
Yeah, that was like, that's not necessary, man. Like, that's not appropriate.
Right. I really, you mentioned this. I feel like they had to know exactly what they were doing. They had to know what they were doing. But the whole scene is sexually charged
Oh, the whole time.
and highly, highly inappropriate. I kept looking around. I was like, I hope no one sees me watching this. This would be embarrassing if someone came in and saw me watching this.
When I was watching the episode, one of my kids was coming downstairs to finish getting ready for bed. They left something down here, and I immediately paused it because without context of seeing what was happening on screen, if you just heard it, I was like, hey, Mike, I can't let them hear this. Like, 'cause this is super suggestive.
Yes.
Like,
it was.
So I muted it. I paused it. And I was like, nope, hold on. I gotta wait for them to finish.
It was wild. I could not. I was shocked. But the crazy thing about it is, so she drops the canteen before he can get a drink. She drinks the water out of it, drops the canteen, lays her head back on his shoulder, looking satisfied, I guess, now that she has drank some water. And it cuts away to one of the other scenes from the other storyline. And when it comes back, they're walking on the mountain.
Well, you forgot where it got awkward a second time, because after the whole canteen debacle, he's like, well, I've got a knife on my belt. And so she goes back for round 2 to get the knife, and they do a super weird zoom in on Danziger's face where he's like trying to pretend like he's not kind of excited about this situation.
Right,
so
like he doesn't know what's going on. He's like, she doesn't know, but I know what this looks like.
It's so weird, but you're right. So apparently she gets knifed, and the next scene they're just free.
They're free.
They're just
okay.
No big deal.
Yeah. It's clearly that scene is
scene.
there only for the intimacy and the awkwardness of all of that. And they probably didn't intend for it to be awkward, but clearly they knew what they were doing when they filmed that scene.
Yeah. I think they meant for it to be funny.
Probably.
And I think that's because they looked a little bit comedic.
It did look comedic, but it also was, I don't know, after coming off of the pedophile episodes that we already watched and then moving into something like this, I'm just like, man, there's definitely a trend here. But we're talking the 90s. This is when Joss Whedon constantly had TV shows on the air with very scantily clad women.
Yeah.
And just doing crazy stuff. Or we have shows like Cleopatra 2525 that we discussed previously. The classic 2525 Cleopatra show. So that was the 90s. Like they were. Definitely. Although it was all the same. It was all just highly sexually suggestive, I think.
Yeah.
Funny stuff. There's another brief scene with Bess and Morgan. We don't get a whole lot of Morgan in this episode, but there is one where he's taking a nap. This guy sleeps a lot in the middle of the day.
He does.
It constantly happens. And Bess comes over and she's very upset. And she's like, Morgan, water rationing is still going on, and you brought me a full cup of water instead of half a cup. And she said, I drank it because you told me it was done. And Julia says that we're still rationing. She's like, did you
Yeah.
steal this water?
She was ticked.
She
She
was
was mad.
She was really mad because she thought he
With that,
stole the water for her.
yeah, she was like Southern charm mad though. Like
Yeah,
you could
it's
tell
still
she
cute.
was mad, but I'm like, you're still just
Yeah,
like you could be mad at me.
right.
Like I would still
It's
feel
okay,
terrible,
darling.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
right. And he looks kind of abashed, and he doesn't like. He looks at Julia, who's also standing there. Like he's like, I don't want her to know this, but he says,
I gave you my half.
and
Yeah.
then it becomes like this. It's actually a sweet moment. He was,
Yeah.
doing something for his wife, and that is the one scene that I remember from this episode. I clearly remember
Just that
the
one
look
part.
on his face and him saying, "Yeah, I gave you my half." And I was like, he's trying to be a good man again, and I really enjoy this Morgan redemption arc that we are still on here.
Yeah,
I still
and he's
like it.
trying.
He
He's
is. He
trying.
really is, and
Yeah.
he definitely. And maybe it's just out of that last episode that kind of changed our idea of him. Maybe that's why we no longer see him as a dirtbag. But also, he wasn't really doing anything dirtbaggy in this episode.
He wasn't. No, and I see him more becoming like comedic relief
Yeah,
almost because every scene that he's in, at least in this episode, is kind of funny or endearing, like with
endearing.
the
Right,
water.
one of the two. Yep.
Right. Yeah.
This is
So
endearing.
he's
You're
not.
right.
Yeah, he's not being the typical blamey, guy anymore. He's not just picking on other people. So
Danziger and Devon, they eventually get to the lake and they lower a canteen down into it, and the water just like completely corrodes the canteen.
yeah,
It's undrinkable. We see the Terrians there, though. They're actually standing in the water and they're sticking their rods, like
little
their
weapons,
staffs.
their
They're
spears.
down.
Yeah.
They're putting it down by the water, and you can see it looks like it's charging the staffs up or something. It's just kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, and that's where the water was eroded the canteen and the rope, and it just
Yeah.
ate everything.
Yeah.
So that's where they realized that body of water, wasn't any good to them.
Yep.
Anymore.
Undrinkable. So, but
Yeah.
now, like they've hiked all the way to this thing, and
Yeah.
they have nothing to drink at this point. So now they get dehydrated.
Yeah, and there's a scene on the way on their hike to the lake where it was right before they hiked to the lake, I think, where Devon says, she asked Danziger, "What do you think about this?" And Danziger says, "Oh yeah, maybe we should do it this way." And then Devon goes, "Yeah, we're gonna do it my way
Yeah.
instead." And they have a fun little argument where Danziger's like, "Why do you do that? Why do you ask me my opinion?"
Huh.
And then just
If you're not
immediately
gonna
do what
take
you
it.
want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, "I considered it. I just picked mine." And they have a nice little tiff where they talk about who the decision maker is, and we're not even on the space stations anymore, so should you even really be in charge? And there's a lot of good information that's given there, and
Yeah.
it's just really nice to see them come to terms. They're kind of reestablishing the pecking order.
It's kind of interesting because they kind of talk about the social structure, like the social hierarchy back on the stations, at least. And
Yeah.
they're talking about inherited debt. And that's basically
Oh
what keeps
yeah,
some people like in the working class, basically. And he says, I'm not passing my debt on to True. She's going to be free. So I think it is like a type
Yeah.
of servitude, indentured
it is.
servitude.
It's what he calls it. Yeah.
Yeah. And she says, hey, I issued payment when we left the stations. She says, back on the stations,
Oh,
you're
yeah,
a free man. Like
you're
you're debt
debt-free.
free. Yeah. And he says, then why does it still feel like you're the boss? Which is kind of weird. Like in our lines, just because you're debt free doesn't mean you might not have a boss. Like my job is not
Yeah.
related to my, it is semi related to my economic status, but it's not like, man, I don't have any money. That means, I'm in servitude to these people because I owe money.
Yeah.
Or I don't owe money. That means I should be the boss. It just doesn't work that way for us. So it's a slightly different
Yeah.
system than
And-
we're used to.
Yeah. And it's clear though that it was her mission. She funded it, she planned it, she was organizing it. So she feels responsible, and that feeling of responsibility leads to people seeing her as the boss.
Yeah.
So
Well, honestly, in my opinion, she did pay for the whole thing. She is
Yeah.
still kind of the boss, really, until, I don't know. I guess their mission wasn't to go down to the planet at all. They were supposed to unload everybody and turn around and go right back. But still, in my mind, she is the leader of this mission.
yeah.
But Danziger's
Yeah.
kind of the leader of the workers, I guess you would say. But yeah, they're both
Yeah.
leaders. I don't know that there's a specific leader of the entire group. It's Devon.
Yeah.
But I don't know that she has that official position.
Yeah. I think they're sorting that out.
There's a funny scene where Morgan says, so that pill worked on Alonzo. He has this moment where he looks at Julia. He's like, hey, Julia, I don't need these crutches anymore. And she starts to come towards me and says, no, stay there. And it's the longest scene in the world as he slowly walks across the camp and hands her these crutches, which are just perfectly shaped sticks, obviously with bandages
Yeah.
wrapped around them for comfort. And like she's like, I guess maybe she'll save them, but I think everyone else has the medicine that they took the pills
The pill.
to
Yeah,
heal
the
them,
vaccines.
so they probably
Yeah.
don't need these crutches. I know it's symbolic of him giving the crutches back to her, but it's crazy how long it is while he slowly walks across the camp to give them to her.
He was being
But
so ginger about it,
yes, yeah, because his leg was still soft, probably.
probably.
And then, like a couple scenes later, he says he's walking around like normal. He's like, "Here, let me take that." And he gets up, he grabs something, and walks away. And Morgan
Yeah.
says,
He's been doing that incessantly. Walking.
and it's just funny. Obviously, Alonso's just excited to be able to walk again, and he's going to do it because he
Yeah.
hasn't been able to. Like Yuli
Yeah.
running everywhere those first few episodes because he never ran before.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's kind of funny. Well, let's see. So, I mean, again, the rest of it, it's a lot of John and Devon talking and trying to survive. She finds some water that's underneath the dune buggy. She thinks the Terrians moved it there so she would find it. She loads up one of the barrels and she goes back to find John, who she probably thought she left for dead.
Yeah, because they decided to hoof it back to the camp. They
Yeah,
were just
that
going to
was their
see
only
how
option.
far they could get. They had
Yep.
no water. They're just going to go for it.
Yep. So she finds the
Yeah.
dune buggy. She's driving back to get him. He's walking towards her carrying a cactus in his hand, which is kind of funny. I
Yeah.
pictured him like holding his hand up and
Like it was
holding it
stuck.
flat, and the cactus would be stuck to his hand. He couldn't shake it loose because of all the things. But apparently he's perfectly fine. The cactus needles are not pointing and sticking in him at all.
No.
But, the Terrians squeezed some of that into his mouth while he was unconscious and then left it on his chest so
Yep.
that he would realize that's where it came from and that they were helping him. Devon, gets out of the dune buggy. She's like, I found water, groundwater. I put some in this barrel, and it is the purest, cleanest water. I don't know how.
Yeah. She
Like,
kept
it
all the
is-
sand out of it and I
Right.
noticed that too.
Yeah. And he's just guzzling it out of that barrel. But I was like, yeah, that should be kind of muddy, dirty water. Still good water, probably, but, kind of gross. But no, it is perfectly clean. I don't know where she found a
Clear.
filtration kit out there away from camp.
Yeah.
And then they go back to camp. And, Julia has talked on VR a couple times. Every time they talk in the VR, I get worried because they're like completely secluded from everyone else. Like when they're in the VR, I was like,
They
what
are.
if Yuli or True walks up while she's having this conversation with someone
Yeah.
they can't see, and they overhear her talking about all this stuff? It's crazy.
I can't imagine how she's so comfortable just going a few feet away from the camp and just, yeah, you're right, going and talking to Riley and nobody is hearing it or seeing it. She's not worried about it. She's like, this is fine. It'll be great. Yeah, I'm with you. It's completely weird.
So at the end there, they're water rich now. They've got enough water. The kids are playing in it. They're throwing it at each other. The men are all shaving. Bess is shaving Morgan with a straight razor, and we see he's still a coward. He's still scared. He's like, "Careful, Bess, be careful." He's worried, when she's shaving his neck, he's worried she's going
Yeah.
to slice him open or something. John goes over to talk to Devon, and he says, "Hey, we said some things out there." And she's like, "We both did." And before you know it, he has a bucket of water behind him. He throws it on her. She grabs one, throws it on him, and they are very playfully, flirtingly
Yeah.
throwing water, chasing each other around the camp, and having a good old time. So they've definitely, like, this experience has definitely brought them both a little closer to each other, I think. And yeah, it's pretty interesting.
You mind if I try that next?
I don't know. Can we afford to have you walking around and clean shaven? Who's going to protect these women?
All right, so that's pretty much a lot of stuff that happens in the episode there. What do you think of this one? What are your thoughts?
It was good. It was very heavy on the romance. We definitely were seeing that between Danziger and Devon, but also Alonso and Julia. Like Alonso put the moves on her. He was kissing her. He was macking on her, and then everybody comes into the tent because they saw him walking, which was really awkward.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Hey, one thing, by the way, do people still say macking? We were talking about slang earlier. I actually thought the word mac earlier, like he's going to go mac on her, and I didn't say it because I was like, everyone's going to laugh at me if I say that. And now you just used it.
and now everybody's gonna laugh at me instead.
I hope so.
I think it's 90s appropriate, but yeah,
Okay.
I think it fits
Nice.
here.
All right.
And I do still say macking.
Okay. All right. So both.
That
You say it and
betray-
it's appropriate.
yeah, it betrays our age, I think.
Yeah, it
So
does. All right. Okay. It's the
but-
return of the Mac. Cool. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
So yeah,
Sorry to interrupt.
So you're good. So they're macking, and I think that was what was really interesting, and I think you brought it up too. And I think was what intrigued me the most about this episode was how is Julia going to be both a spy, a doctor who cares for these people, and fight her feelings for Alonso. Like it's going to be really interesting when she has to make that choice.
Perhaps you've overestimated your importance in the grand scheme of human events.
And hopefully we see it in this one season. Maybe we don't. Maybe they carry it throughout. But like that was probably the best part for me, was seeing, like, learning more about what Julia's going to do and how she's going to deal with these conflicts. So yeah. What about you? What'd you think?
Well, so I always like the mysterious Terrians. I love when they show up. So I was definitely happy to see them again here. And, we learned a little more about them in that there are definitely different tribes, because I think they say it somewhere in there that they're not like the ones that they've already met. So I'm glad to know there's more all over the planet. That's cool. I was also happy to see that they weren't really trying to hurt John and Devon. They were really, my mind, the way I read it, they're trying to protect them from the bad water. They don't want them to go there.
Yeah.
And so to me, the show is two storylines, and I really like that whole storyline. But I did think that the Alonzo and Julia storyline was too slow and too repetitive. Like every time they were in a scene together, it seemed like they were saying the exact same things that they said in the previous scene. It was all the same stuff.
Yeah.
So I like the overall idea of their storyline. It was just too much. It's just too redundant. So, to me, the two storylines, basically this episode kind of comes out as a wash. You got one really good storyline and one storyline I don't care about as much. To me, that puts it basically at like a 0. Either way, it's not a negative or a positive. However, before I would say that, I would say that I did like the aspect of Julia. I like the things that happen in the Julia not Antonio, and that's his real name, Alonzo storyline. I do like the things that happen in there. It just was too much for me. They just laid it on way too thick. I do like the things that happen, so I would still give that a slightly positive score there, which would bring the entire episode. If I was trying to go negative or positive, I would put it on the slightly positive side. If 5 is like completely neutral, I'd give it a 6 or 6.5, because I did like what was happening. It just got to be a little too much. And I do like finding out about, the spy part of her life now as well, and meeting Riley and just seeing, John Locke from Lost.
From Lost.
Show up here. That's kind of what I know him from. So,
yeah. No, I'm with you. It's always tough when they because every show seems to get one of these episodes where you're focused on the romantic relationships within the group, but there's only so much you can do with it to keep it interesting. I think Devon and Danziger was like perfectly paced. They had their really awkward moments, but then they had some actual story to take place where you got to see them doing something as they became closer and got to know each other. So I get what you're saying with Alonzo and Julia, that it felt laid on very thick because they just kept having the same repeat conversation every time they talked, and it never really went anywhere. You got the kiss and then it just was kind of there. And even like Bess coming in and trying to convince Julia that it's nice to have somebody who's going to care about you so people can see it. But
well, they also just walked in on him macking on her too. So
they did.
If they didn't see the actual kiss, it's pretty clear what was happening.
Right. Yeah. So I'm with you. I'd give it like a 6 if we were doing a rating scale, which I don't think we've done before.
We have not. It's always been. You gonna watch it again? Yeah.
Yeah. But not the best episode, but I will definitely keep watching. What they teased in this episode was really good, and I definitely want to know more. Yeah. So
All right, next time we're going to be watching episode 7. It's called The Church of Morgan, and this aired back on Sunday, December 18th, 1994, with narration by Julia. It says, the feeling of loneliness is adversely affecting the marriage status of Morgan and Bess. Meanwhile, at the urging of Riley, Dr. Heller addresses the growing symbiosis between Yuli and the Terrians. That's cool. That's something I'm really interested in. I love the Terrians, and Yuli and the Terrians have some kind of symbiosis going on. That's cool. Let's see what that's about.
Yeah, I honestly thought that was just a dead storyline, that they just healed him and we were going to move on. So that's really exciting. So
yep, I'm glad it's still a thing.
Yeah.
So cool. All right.
With the Church of Morgan, with the title, I kept getting Battlestar Galactica vibes with Baltar. I was like, oh gosh, is Morgan going to get like a whole arc where he creates a cult?
If he did, his followers would probably have to be Grendlers, because I don't think the humans would follow him anywhere.
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Well, hey, thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Rob.
And I'm Aaron.
And this has been Broadcast Obituaries.
And we'll see you next time. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Hey there, I'm Rob, your TV shaman.
And sorry, I like that. You can keep it. I'll cut this part out.
Okay.
I liked it. And I'm Aaron.
But so yesterday at a track meet that I had for our junior high team, and it's junior high and elementary, I walked the boys through the course, and we got to the finish line, and I kind of held them back about 100 yards, and I was like, okay, down there is the finish line. I said, we got a little hill here. When you come over this hill, you just cook right through the finish line. And half the kids looked at me, and they're like, we've never heard you say cook before. That's awesome. It's like, okay, it's not that awesome.
Yep.
I hear you guys say it 10 times a day each
Yeah.
at practice, so I've picked it up, I guess.
That's funny. Just
yeah.
gotta let me cook, man. Let me cook.
Let them cook. And sorry, I just looked out the window, and two of said children are walking through the backyard, which is I almost never see, but they're carrying cornhole boards, which we don't have. Apparently, we do have them now. I'll have to go find out where they came from.
I think you just witnessed the theft.
Probably. Sorry, it just caught my attention. Still, kind of reminds me of all the videos you see online of people wearing, when this came out in the 90s, there was no like VR gear or any of that. Now we have VR games. People put those headsets on and they're playing games and they freak out and turn around and run into a wall or swing their arm and knock a TV off the wall. I love these videos. They are some of the great joys of my life,
really
honestly.
Good.
Yeah, but that's kind of what this reminded me of. Like, what if she's having this conversation and she walked off a cliff?
Yeah, and when you're that immersed, I mean, we have the VR stuff, and when you're that immersed in a game, like you don't know what's around you.
Sure.
Like the kids will be playing, they'll mess with each other the entire time. Like they're on doing something we're trying to balance, and they'll go and push somebody just to see what happens. And
that's funny.
And it's completely disorienting.